It's a wonderful day again, and we're happy that you can join us again on Talk Point on Lagos Television. My name is Omololu Rosonwo. Today on Talk Point, our focus will be on the roles of civil society groups and also politicians and everybody in the system. Of course, we know that without the people, there can't be governance, and without the leadership, governance is also not possible, because some set of people have to lead others so that things can get better. But in leading others too, it is expected that they will do the right thing so that the governed can also feel that part of governance. That's our focus today, and I have a guest in the studio that will be discussing that with me. I have Adeboyega Ajadi. So, Boyega, it's nice having you.
Nice to have me. Thank you very much.
Yes, I guess it's your first time coming to Lagos Television, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yes, it's nice having you. Yes, if we have good connection, we'll be linking up with Nicolas Dazang from Plateau State, if we have that connection. But if we don't have that yet, we'll still make do with Gwega. Gwega, in my introduction, I talked about governance. I talked about the people. I talked about leadership. Now, let's look at leadership right from when Nigeria got its independence up till now. Have we really made some kind of headway?
Thank you very much for having me, and good afternoon, Lagos State. Leadership, if we look at it from the context of explanation, leadership does not exist without followership. And in Nigeria, we have had the First Republic, the Second Republic, and the Third Republic. We had some imbroglio with the military in between, and a lot of coup and all of that. But the reality is that we find ourselves in the democracy of today. We have moved forward because we are governing ourselves. And when a child is born, is picked up and is nurtured. After a while, he insists on wanting to crawl, and after crawling, he insists on wanting to stand up. While trying to stand up, he falls and cries and all of that, but eventually he stands up and he moves ahead. That's where we are today. We have seen the past. We have had our share of coups. Now we're in democracy, and we believe that governing ourselves is the best way forward. And so we've made some mistakes, some pertinent mistakes that has put us in the situation we have today. However, there's leadership and there's followership. Without followership, there's no leadership. That's why we have votes being counted in elections, because we vote for leaders, Nigerians. Have we been patriotic? Have we been sincere? Have we checked leadership? Have we controlled leadership? Those are the questions we should ask ourselves. We've had leaders, yes. We've had leaders who have not been cowards. We have had leaders who have been cowards. We have had leaders who have stood up to the plate, and we have had leaders who have said, oh, let us just calm down and just exist. So we need to pick from which school that we're talking about. For me, Nigeria has had a mix of governance and leadership, because we used to have regions, now we have a federal system. By the way, I went to a federal school to enhance Nigeria. So I can tell you categorically that our forefathers and the leaders that established Nigeria had a very wonderful plan for Nigeria. However, have we followed that plan? No. Have we introspected based on patriotism for Nigeria? No. We are all about self. We have been all about self. Because if we have not been all about self, in the abundance of water, the fool is thirsty. We have all it takes to be a superpower. However, what do we have to show for it?
Don't you think this has to do with bad leadership, just like you mentioned that? And in looking at that, where do you think we got it wrong? And how do we move away from those issues so that we won't get it wrong again?
Fantastic. That's a very good question. How did we get it wrong? Chronicling from the era of existence, Tafawa Balewa and Akintola, Awolowo, and all of that, and going into the coup of 1966-67, we realized that we had patriotic leaders they were all ready to die for Nigeria. They had the option to run away. because the likes of Akitola and Sadauna knew that Agun Ironsi and Izogu and all of them were coming 48 hours before. But they agreed amongst themselves. Go back to your regions. Stay in front of your people. And make sure you resist if you can. Or, so be it, die for it. That was the consensus between Akitola and Sadauna.
That was the patriotism, in the spirit of patriotism.
Thank you. That's why I'm going to that point. That was patriotism. When they were going to be assassinated, Sadauna's first wife said, life is not worth it without you, and held on to her husband. And they both were shot. Those are men, not cowards. They had the opportunity to go to Benin Republic 48 hours before Nzogu came. They stood, and Akitola came back to the south. He was not found, but because a gun was held to his son, Yomi,
You had to show up.
he came back to reality. Those were men. But now, we are the men. Who is ready to die for Nigeria? Who is ready to save Nigeria? Who is ready to be patriotic for Nigeria? After all, whatever it is that you have, you're going to drop everything and you're going to die empty. So what's the point?
So from what you're saying, I seem to be more interested. Are you saying now that we do not have patriotic leaders right from after independence, when Nigeria became a republic in 1963?
I'm trying to chronicle it. Thank you. So we left that. Take Awolowo. He ruled for 8 years. His legacy has not been met by any politician today. 8 years. We've given all our governors 8 years since the inception of democracy. What have they done with 8 years? You see, I like to face facts. I don't just speak. We talk about facts. What have we done with 8 years? What can we point to, federal and state, in the last 16 and in the last maybe 12 years? 16 for PDP, 8 going to 9 for APC. 16 years of PDP chronicle it. It was a waste. We had it all going. We had everything in Nigeria before they came in. We could produce, even when there was embezzlement, so to speak. We could clothe ourselves.
I recall that because while you're mentioning this, it just popped up again. And I recall that during those periods that Nigeria got back to democracy in 1999,
yes,
there were plans by the government then to bring power generation.
This is where we are.
To increase everything.
This is where we are. Okay, we
A
spent...
Motosho plant was created, Papalanto, everywhere.
We spent billions on trying to bring back NEPA. Why did we suggest then to unbundle NEPA and create IPPs?
Maybe because they weren't functioning very well, because they needed to.
So why pump in more money into NEPA? Why don't you unbundle the whole thing? Give states the ability to produce and generate energy, buy and take off from them, and build a superhighway transmission. You don't need this grid breakdown every day. No. You have enough resources. You can bond your grid, build a new grid, a superhighway for Nigeria. Okay? So evacuate whatever you need to evacuate easily. You cannot rely on 1965 or 1950 something grid or 1930 something. You can't. You have to be forward looking. Okay, we've invested $16 billion.
Dollars.
So to speak.
Dollars.
Yes.
Then,
when money had value, what did we have? Nothing. Not a single bulb. Came on.
Yes, that reminds me.
So that's why I tell you, it's a waste of time.
At some point, a committee was set up to look into how the funds for the gas plants were.
We borrowed Disco's money to become Discos in Nigeria. Are you aware?
Tell me more.
We borrowed Discos money to become Discos. But we don't track anything. So we don't ask questions. So the reality is that we have to start to ask questions, what happened yesterday, before we can have today, and because we can have tomorrow to plan with. In the first place, we have failed to plan. Obviously, we have planned to fail, because we don't have any plan. There has to be strategic thinking for Nigeria. We are always announcing on television, Vision 30, Vision 20. No. All those papers, a waste of our time. We talk too much. We haven't acted on anything. Why sell off all your properties in the guise of privatization? And you have nothing but crude oil. You cannot even clothe yourselves. Why? What kind of privatization? We have privatized now. What have we achieved in the last 20 years? So that's why I said PDP wasted our time. A lot of multi-billionaires were created under that period. So what government's supposed to have been doing, mediating and controlling, it became individual ownership. That is our commonwealth being trickled away. Because we used to have airlines, we used to have shipping lines, we used to have aluminium smelting plant, we used to have all kinds of things. Dockyard was fixing ships. Now you have to go to foreign countries to go and fix your boats. In our system of governance, what is the benefit for being in Nigeria?
Is that not sheer neglect? Because if you look at it, has it not been an issue of sheer neglect, or probably those leaders then were not being proactive enough?
They weren't at all. They were inept. They had no idea of governance. So some of us went to school, masters, to go and study for Nigeria. How can we make things happen? How can we make things happen? We cannot be in a society and things are happening this way, and we are all educated. So it means that we have either not passed through school, or school has not passed through us, and we have not learned from the society. But we've read, we've seen, we know some things. We don't know it all, but the little we know, coming back to the basics, like oil awal, should solve the problem. Because you have macro, you have micro, you have derivative economy, you have demand and supply, basic economics. We'll fix Nigeria. We have the numbers. It shouldn't be a problem. It should be an asset to Nigeria. But because we have inept, thoughtless people in the areas of affairs, they seem to think that is a challenge. It is not. It is a blessing for someone that wants to think, someone that wants to add value. You can add value in Nigeria easily because you have population, you have numbers. If you produce, you will wipe it up, people will buy. If you create, you have people to work with. So all you need to do is orientate them, teach them the right attitude, let them love Nigeria. Let us love each other.
Yeah, don't you think it's also a two-way thing? Don't you think it's a two-way thing? If you want me to be patriotic, which I want to be, you also as leaders must also provide some things or some basic amenities.
That's where that's why I just told you. That's why I just told you now. Leadership and followership.
So how do we make these things work?
Thank you very much. We have 3 tiers of governance: the president, the state, and the local government. The president.
You need to project a little so that we can.
The president, through the Supreme Court, now has said, okay, financial autonomy for the local governments. That's a very wonderful move in the right direction. So that means that if you want to be a state governor now, you cannot rely on funds for the local government. You have to introspect. Whatever is given to you by federal government should be enough for you. However, I don't believe that we should continue to be in a rent economy. Why should you want to be a governor and wait for rent from federal government every month?
I need you to explain a little more because
on what
I may understand rent economy.
Thank you very much.
Our viewers, they also need
what
to
I
know
mean
what you mean
by rent economy is that we are always waiting for the bill to be paid by the federal government. We are not productive. We don't have any production.
You're talking in terms of dependency on the
yes,
on
it's a rent economy.
Level.
We rent. So if without federal government, we can't spend money in the state. And likewise, we can't spend money in the local government. But with this kind of freedom, if I'm a local government chairman and I'm giving that amount of money, even if I'm not giving any money, what do I have as a comparative advantage in my locality? that means that I can start to generate economy for myself because I am not relying on state and I'm not relying on federal government. Take, for instance, Lagos Highland is the hub for business. Parking is an issue. I can set up 10-story parking, modern parking, where I will stack cars on top of each other and they will pay a fee to me as a local government chairman. And I will pay bills and I will support, from that income, I will support the state government.
That is, they have enough income to
There
do
will
that.
be enough income because when I have autonomy, I can walk to a bank and bond what I want to do. So I have authority to do stuff now. Take, for instance, I'm in front of the sea and I'm the local government chairman. I will go to Niwa. Think out benefits from that waterways and talk to Niwa. This is federal government property. However, let us support you to do this in our locality and enjoy the facility. So there's infrastructure, there's societal development, there's Nigeria's need for benefit of democracy. Have we benefited from democracy as Nigerians? I will say yes, because we have had freedom of expression. I'm on television now speaking about Nigeria. In those days, when in 1993 we were looking for who to be our president, we were hiding with Hood. Nobody knew us. Do you understand? Although we left school, we cannot talk about that now. But a lot of people are benefiting from democracy now. They didn't fight for it. But because magnanimity of democracy is government of everybody. So everybody is benefiting from democracy. But are you giving back to the society you are benefiting from? The president should not have issues about the society when you have state governors and you have local government chairmen.
Maybe that explains why it was taken to court and they actually wanted to know if the local government can collect money direct, and that has been said by the Supreme Court.
It is a standard law in the Constitution.
Yeah, now that we have that, we expect that monies will be coming in direct to the local governments. Now, what are you expecting from them to do now when money starts to roll in? Because none of them have said anything. It's a good development. They have come, they like it, but they have not said anything.
They will not say anything because it's the state governors that put them there now. It is the state that conducts local government elections. So if I'm a smart governor and I'm on seat, if it's not Abuja and it's me that employs the state electoral board, I will put my cronies there, compete with them. So right now, are we having the right square pegs in square holes? No.
But if you're saying that...
We only have cronies.
You have it across all the 36 states.
That is what I am saying to you.
And there seems to be
You
a problem.
just want to start to see governance.
Now.
Yes. It was cronyism then, till date. We have evidence of that. We're not just speaking on air. We know how it works. I'm a politician. Do you understand? It's winner takes it all. And that's not a society. So
as a politician now, are you now ready to change the system? Because you have admitted that you're a politician.
That is why we are here.
So you know that
we have been in politics to change the system. Even at our age, when we were younger than this, we took a risk and said, rather than be taking salary, why don't we try and do this? So people thought, what's wrong with this man? Why is he living a career ahead of himself and choosing to do politics? My father is not a politician. My mother is not a politician. Okay? But I can say my mother probably did some politics in the 60s because she was a market woman leader, a secretary like that. So I won't call that real politics. I come from a business home. But the reality is that I had a stint with federal government, working for federal government, and I realized the lacuna in thoughtfulness back then. And projecting as an accountant, as an economist, I realized that if we don't do things quickly, that's where we are today.
Now, before we round up, you know that the civil society groups also have roles to play in terms of checkmating the government. Are they really lived up to expectations?
Who has been speaking now? Nobody has been speaking, really.
But we see some saying the government has not done this, the government has not done that, that they should do this and
Government cannot do everything. That is why we are also on air today, to explain some things that government does not all have. There is not encompassed. It is our country. Why can't you help government? We had some people that helped Awolowo, businessmen, individuals, that stood for Western region then. Till tomorrow, their family is still benefiting from that goodwill. That's 25% in accounting. That is what Nigeria needs to come back to. That's why we are asking for support to come into Nigeria. Nigeria was not begging for international foreign investment before. This was the hub for foreign investment. Why did they leave? We could do anything in Nigeria. We were an exporting nation of fabrics, Guinea, Ankara, all of it. Right from Lagos to Fontua to Gusau to Zaria, name it, hundreds of mills. We were, and we benefited from it. We could make cars here in Lagos, Kaduna, and all of that. What has happened to us?
So you're saying now that our inactions have created problems for us?
Inept leadership over time.
Now, so as we round up now, what's your advice now? Because you're saying now that it's a new dawn.
Yes.
I may want to agree with you that it's a new dawn
Yes.
because of the way things are now. So what's your advice?
My advice is to introspect. Think of Nigeria. Think inwards. Nigeria is going to change. Nigeria is a wonderful nation, and if we have the right pegs in the right holes, we will be in the League of Nations competing. Yes, we are owing today. Governments owe. How do we get out of it? That is the introspection.
Okay, on that note, I think we cannot take more today again, but I've been speaking with Adeboyega Ajadi. He's also a social affairs commentator, and he has revealed that he's also a politician, and he wants to see, he believes that things will start changing from now. Boyega, I want to thank you for being part of Top Points.
The pleasure is mine.
Yes, on that note, we've come to the end of Top Points. 767 and 112 still remain the lines to call in times of emergency. Stay out of trouble. Stay out of trouble. Ensure that you contribute to the development of our great state and Nigeria as a whole. I am Omololu Rosanwo. See you some other time.